English learners, welcome back to
So English.
your cozy little place to build your English confidence. I'm May.
Hello, May, and hello, everyone. I'm Jay. May, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, Jay. Actually, I just got back from the coffee shop and I was thinking about today's topic the whole time I was there.
Oh, really? What were you thinking about?
I was watching people around me, ordering coffee, asking for help, making plans on the phone, and I realized something. Every single person was using the same small set of verbs over and over again.
Wait, like the same words? Just a few words?
Exactly. 9 verbs. Just 9. And if you know how to use them well, you can handle almost any everyday conversation in English.
9 verbs? That sounds too easy, May.
I know, right? But that's the beauty of it. Today, we're talking about the 9 essential verbs you need to speak English fluently every single day.
Okay, I am so ready for this. But first, May, can I say something to our listeners really quick?
Of course. Go ahead, Jay.
Hey, if this podcast is helping you learn English, please subscribe to our channel, turn on the notification bell, and share this with a friend who's learning English too. It really means a lot to us.
Yes, and if you enjoy listening, please hit that like button. It helps more people find us. Okay, let's dive in.
All right. So, May, which verb are we starting with?
We're starting with the king of all verbs, the verb get.
Oh, get. I use that word all the time, but honestly, I'm not always sure if I'm using it right.
That's the thing about get. It's so flexible. You can use it to mean receive, understand, obtain, become, and so many more things.
Wait, one verb means all of those things?
Yes, think about it. I get it means I understand. I'll get some water means I'll go and bring some water. She's getting better means she's becoming better.
Oh, wow. So it kind of changes its meaning depending on the situation.
Exactly. And here's the interesting part. Once you feel comfortable with get, conversations start feeling much more natural. Like, instead of saying, I received a message, you can just say, I got a message.
That's so much easier to say. Okay, what's verb number 2?
Number 2 is make. And OJ, this one is everywhere.
Like make a sandwich?
Yes, but also make a decision, make a mistake, make a plan, make someone happy. It's not just about cooking or building things.
So make is more about creating something, even feelings or decisions?
Exactly right. When you say, she made me laugh, you're talking about an emotion. When you say, we need to make a plan, you're talking about an idea.
I love that. So it's not just physical things. It can be invisible things too, like feelings.
Right. And here's a little tip. In English, we often say make a mistake, not do a mistake. That's one of the most common errors I hear from learners.
Oh, I used to say do a mistake all the time.
You're not alone. Almost everyone does in the beginning. That's why knowing the right verb combinations is so important.
Okay. What's number 3?
Number 3 is do. And this one is interesting because sometimes people mix up make and do.
Yes, when do I say make and when do I say do? That's so confusing.
Here's a simple way to think about it. Make is usually for creating something. Something new comes out of it. Do is usually for actions or tasks. You're completing something.
Like do homework, do the dishes, do your best?
Perfect examples. You're not creating homework, you're completing it. That's why it's do homework, not make homework.
Oh, that actually makes so much sense now. Why did nobody explain it like that before?
That's why we're here. And do is also used in questions. What are you doing? How did you do? It's one of the most used words in the whole English language.
All right, verb number 4. I'm excited.
Number 4 is have, and this one is probably the one you use the most without even realizing it.
Really? Like have a coffee, have a meeting?
Exactly. But also, have a look, have a break, have fun, have a conversation. When you put have in front of certain nouns, it creates a really natural expression.
Wait, have a look? So I'm not looking with my eyes? I mean, I am, but have a look sounds different from just look.
You're right. It's slightly more polite and relaxed. Like, can you have a look at this for me? Feels softer than look at this.
Oh, that's such a good point. Tone matters a lot, doesn't it?
It really does. And have is also important for past tense. I have done. She has finished. They have been. You can't skip this verb.
Okay, we're almost halfway. What's number 5?
Number 5, and this is a big one, take. Think about all the things you take in daily life.
Take a shower, take a break, take a photo?
Yes, and take your time, take a taxi, take a class, take a risk. Take is all about receiving, accepting, or doing something actively.
It feels similar to have sometimes. Like, take a break and have a break. Are those different?
Great question. They're very similar, actually. In casual conversation, you can often use either one, but take feels slightly more action-focused, like you're choosing to do it.
Oh, so take a break is like, I'm deciding to step away, and have a break is more like, I'm enjoying the break.
That's a really good way to feel the difference. You're doing great, Jay.
Thanks. Okay, what's number 6?
Number 6, come. Now, this sounds simple, but come does so much work in English.
Like, come here? Come with me?
Yes, but also come back, come on, come up with an idea, it comes naturally. This one verb changes completely depending on what you add after it.
You mean like phrasal verbs? Come on, come back, come across?
Exactly. And this is where things get really interesting. Come across means to find something by accident. Like, I came across a great article today.
Oh, so not literally crossing anything.
Nope. In English, the phrasal verb often means something totally different from the individual words. And come is one of the most popular base words for phrasal verbs.
Okay, I need to pay more attention to come then. What's number 7?
Number 7, go. The partner of come.
Yes, go and come are like best friends.
They really are. Go is about movement. Go to work, go home, go shopping. But it's also about change. Like, things went wrong. It all went well. The milk has gone bad.
Wait, gone bad? So go can talk about food?
Yes, the bread went bad means it's not good anymore. Her hair went gray. He went quiet. Go shows a change happening.
I never thought about go like that. I always thought it was just about moving somewhere.
That's the magic of learning deeply. A word you think you know has a whole second life.
Okay, that blew my mind a little. Number 8.
Number 8, no. This might seem too simple, but knowing when to use no properly can make you sound much more fluent.
Like, I know the answer. I know her. I know how to cook.
Exactly. And know covers facts, people, and skills. But here's something learners often miss. We say, I know, not I am knowing. It's a non-action verb.
Oh, like we don't say I am knowing you. We just say I know you.
Right. And same with I know how to swim, not I am knowing how to swim. These verbs that describe states, not actions, don't usually go with the ing form.
That's actually a really useful rule. I think I've made that mistake before.
Almost every learner does. And once you know this, you start catching your own mistakes automatically.
Okay, last one. Number 9. I'm so curious.
Number 9, and I saved this one for last because it might be the most powerful. Need.
Oh, need. Like, I need help. I need more time.
Yes, but need does something really special. It shows importance. It tells people what matters most to you, or what the situation requires.
Like you need to practice more. That has a strong feeling to it.
Exactly. Need carries urgency and importance, and it's softer than commanding someone. Like, you need to rest feels more caring than rest now.
Oh, wow. So need is also about the emotional tone of what you're saying.
Yes, and when you use need in questions, do you need help or what do you need, it shows that you care. It's a very human verb.
I love that. Need is human. I want to remember that.
Write that down, everyone. Need is human.
Okay, May, so we have all 9 verbs now. Can we do a quick recap because I want to make sure I remember them all?
Absolutely. Let's go through them one more time together.
Verb 1, get.
Used for receiving, understanding, and becoming. I get it. I got a message. She's getting better.
Verb 2, make.
Used for creating. Things, plans, decisions, feelings. Make a plan. Make someone laugh. Make a mistake.
Verb 3, do.
Used for completing tasks and actions. Do your homework. Do your best. What are you doing?
Verb 4, have.
Used for possessing, experiencing, and forming past tenses. Have fun. Have a look. I have finished.
Verb 5, take.
Used for active choices and receiving. Take a break. Take a risk. Take your time.
Verb 6, come.
Used for movement towards something and tons of phrasal verbs. Come back. Come across. Come on.
Verb 7, go.
Used for movement away and showing change. Go to work. Go wrong. Go quiet.
Verb 8, know.
Used for facts, people, and skills. And remember, no ing form. I know, not I am knowing.
And verb 9, need.
The most human verb shows importance, urgency, and care. I need help. Do you need anything?
Okay, I feel so good right now. Like I actually use all of these every day. I just never paid attention to them this deeply.
And that's the key, Jay. When you use familiar words more intentionally, your fluency goes up fast. You don't always need new vocabulary. Sometimes you just need to go deeper with the words you already have.
That's such a good lesson. Go deeper, not just wider.
Exactly. And here's something I want listeners to try. Pick just one verb from today, just one. And for the next 24 hours, notice every time you use it or hear it.
Ooh, that's like a little game, a verb challenge.
Yes, and you'll be surprised how many times that one verb appears. It'll start to feel like it's everywhere.
Because it is. Okay, I'm going to pick get because that one is everywhere and I want to really feel all its meanings.
Perfect choice. And honestly, once you get comfortable with get, no pun intended, you'll start sounding so much more natural in English.
Very smooth, May, very smooth.
Thank you, thank you. You know, I was thinking earlier when I was in the coffee shop, the barista asked me, "Do you need anything else?" And I just said, "No, I'm good, thanks." And that small exchange used 3 of our 9 verbs, need, do, and get, all in about 5 seconds.
Wow, Real-life English is happening so fast.
It really is, and that's why knowing these core verbs matters so much. When you're in a real conversation, you don't have time to search your memory for complex vocabulary. You need your core words to come out automatically.
So these 9 verbs are like your emergency English toolkit.
I love that. Yes, your emergency English toolkit. Always ready, always useful.
Okay, I want to ask our listeners something before we close. Which of these 9 verbs do you use the most? Or which one confuses you the most?
Yes, leave a comment below. Tell us, which verb are you going to focus on today? We love reading your responses.
And hey, if you enjoy learning with us, please subscribe, share this episode with someone who needs it, and leave us a like. It seriously helps us keep going every single day.
We put so much heart into every episode, and knowing that you're listening and learning makes it all worth it. So thank you, truly.
Thank you, everyone. And May, as always, this was amazing. I feel like I just got a superpower.
You did! The superpower of knowing your core verbs. And listen, language learning doesn't have to be overwhelming. Start simple, go deep, stay consistent.
Start simple, go deep, stay consistent. I'm writing that on my wall.
Please do. All right, English learners, that's a wrap for today. We'll see you in the next episode. Keep practicing, keep smiling, and remember,
Your English is getting better every single day.
take care, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.